Good morning from Nashville, Tennessee on Capitol Hill. I'm State Representative Jay Reedy, and today I would like to share with you, this is my legislative survey. These are surveys that went out in the weekly newspapers back in December. A lot of comments, a lot of folks with concerns on their mind. I thought I would take and share some of this. If you're interested in the survey and what the questions are, you can go to my website, jreedy4tennessee.com. And when you go on there, click on the tab survey, you will find there the survey that I did last year for 2020, and then this year is for 2021. And not only will you find the past survey, but the results of that survey, which you'll find the numbers in the survey for medical marijuana, should it be passed here in the state of Tennessee. So this morning, what I would like to do is read a few of the responses that I got back on this survey. Now, there is a total of 8 questions. A lot of folks put in additional commentary, concerns that they have. Certainly there is a stay up to date box on here as well. So if you want to include your mailing address, telephone number, or email address, I do have a weekly, when we're in session, a weekly wrap email blast that I send out to folks. So if you're interested in that, certainly contact my office, send me an email, and give me your email address. We can put you on that. But when you go to my website, you can actually click on subscribe and be added to that list from that location. So that's probably the easiest way to just go ahead and subscribe through my website. Once again, that's jreedy4tennessee. And let's read a few of the responses. The turmoil going on in our country right now, the elections that took place. And I had this survey written up before the election took place, but it's been interesting, the responses that I got back on this survey. Okay, so since I've been in office, I've been trying to convince folks to get out and vote, and was trying to get an idea on what needs to change. Does anything need to change to get you to get to the polls to vote? And I will read the questions. If I were to sponsor legislation to improve the percentage of Tennesseans that vote, what do you wish would change about our voting system? And this person is out of Dover, Tennessee, Neil. And Neil wrote in, extend early voting time, but stricter mail-in ballots and no non-citizens allowed to vote. No out of U.S. countries allowed to receive voting date or supply software or machines. I guess that's in reference machines that come out of Canada. And then I believe that's what he's referring to there. And this is all surveys coming back that is, it was sent out in the Stewart County Standard, and that's in Dover, Tennessee. The next one, the News Democrat. The News Democrat comes out of Humphreys County. The person that mailed this in, her name is Candy. And her response to question number 1, if I were to sponsor legislation to improve the percentage of Tennesseans that vote, what do you wish would change about our voting system? And she wrote in, more security for mail-in votes. Only allow mail-in ballots for people who really need them, i.e., those ill at home or have no transportation, and those in nursing homes. Do not send mail-in ballots to people who have not asked for them. Must have a photo ID to vote. Compare signatures and have a thumbprint to verify the person is who they say they are. Thank you, Candy, for that response. The next, these surveys came out of the Houston County Herald, and, well, there's not a name on this So it was John. Looked at the mailing label on the other side. John wrote in more early voting sites, better instructions for voting by mail, drop boxes for mail-in voting. Okay. Then here was another one. Let's see. This is out of the Camden Chronicles, a newspaper in Camden, Tennessee, which is Benton County. Donna wrote, make sure all votes are counted before being finished. So I guess what she's saying there is count all the ballots, make sure you have a final count, and then send those results in instead of calling the election before all the ballots get counted. This Buffalo River Review. These surveys come out of Perry County, and in Perry County, this is I think I've got the name right. Levon, out of Perry County at the Buffalo River Review. Her response was Operation Iraqi Freedom Voting System. It was made in America, yet we have to buy foreign trash. Why? Okay. And then I do have some. Here's an example of one. Let me take it off of this list. So you're able to go to my website and then take them and print off. It's a PDF. If you want to print that off and then mail that to me, that would be wonderful as well. This came out of Woodlawn, Tennessee, which is Montgomery County, and the lady's name is Sarah. She just wrote, that would be no fraud. And she does not want any fraud coming with the election process. And that's kind of the front cover of the survey. If it was mailed to you, was heavy cardstock. Let me see. And then if you just print it off from the PDF, that single page, the single page would be a full page that looks like this. This gentleman was let's see if I can come up with one. All of these respondents, what they had done was filled out the survey, scanned it, and then sent it back in, because I'm seeing the newspaper that they got the survey in, and so they just scanned it on their computer and sent it in that way. And that's a good way to return them too, if you don't want to pay for postage. Let's see. These are some new ones that I just got in. I have not sorted them and put them into the pile yet. Let's read this one. It says it come out of the Camden Chronicles, and the lady's name is Ann. And her response to, if I were to sponsor legislation to improve the percentage of Tennesseans to vote, what do you wish would change about our voting system? Registration should be only at the election office. Absentee voting should be limited to those who are unable to get to their precinct. Voting should be on election day, with workers given time off to do so. Some good news coming out. Spoke with the Secretary of State's office and the Election Commission here in the state of Tennessee. Some things that are taking place with voting in the future. There was a pilot program with a small county, and I don't recall the name of the county. And because of secure internet, they're going to be able to take like an iPad and through the Wi-Fi look you up, and that electronic, and hopefully it's a paper-based backup ballot, you will be able to vote. And when you vote, and it's during the primary or general election, and it automatically, with all of the voting machines tied into the same system, so you could vote at any precinct, not the one that you're connected to currently, but you could take and vote at any precinct. And when you do that electronically, it will leave the signature and take your name off the rolls. That would prevent people from voting 2 or 3 times. Now, what's going to be interesting, and I used this example when I was on a radio show talking about it, if you know anything about Humphreys County, if you go west to east, you have New Johnsonville, Waverly, and then McEwen. So if you happen to work in New Johnsonville and you're from McEwen, during lunch, during after hours, whatever, if you get off work at New Johnsonville, you could just go to the voting precinct there in New Johnsonville, go in, you don't have to wait until you get home, go in and vote at any voting, any polling place to cast your vote. And so I look forward to seeing that roll out in the state of Tennessee. I do have some legislation on voting machines. It'll be interesting when we get started in this process of session beginning on voting machines, is to see how many counties have the paper backup ballots. And I'll explain that, how it happens in Houston County, where I live, where I'm from. So I go in and they take my information, photo ID, make sure I am who I say I am, and then they give me a piece of paper. Then I go into the next room. Then on that, they annotate information, and it's put on a long paper ballot. So I take that paper ballot, stick it in the machine, put in my PIN number, who I am, and with that, then I can cast my votes. And when I cast the votes, then when I finish and the card pops out, I can look at that card and make sure that line by line, it says who I voted for. And while I was there this year, a little old lady, when the card came out, she said, "This is not correct." So they got a way of disposing of that card, reissuing her another one, and like I said, disposing of the one. So it's not usable. When they take it from her, they basically destroy it, get another card, and let her have a do-over of that. When you got the paper ballot correct in hand, you go to the optical scanner, the next machine, run it through, and then your vote is cast, and you're finished for that election. And but new technology, it's going to be pretty cool. Security, ease, and speed of being able to vote in the future. But yes, we got to pay attention. We got to be concerned about voting, and especially at the federal level, my concern is some fallacies, some inappropriate way of running an election in some states. Those states need to clean up their act. They need to take care of business, and I'm very confident that we had minimal to no fraud in the state of Tennessee, because after the election, I called the Secretary of State, and they recertified, or they certify the machines before voting begins. Then they go back, and then they I can't say that they recertify, but they go back in and look at the voting machines to check for any errors or fraud or anything else. And that was my question to the Secretary of State, Trey Hargett. I said, so I did this paper ballot. What kept me from standing there and running it through this optical scanner a bunch of times? And what happened is, because the computer system picked up my PIN code, my name associated with that, immediately it took me off the rolls and would not allow for a second vote. But we're going through some difficult times voting machines. So if you've got any questions, comments, just leave them in the comment box below. Once again, you can go to my website, Reedy for Tennessee. My contact information there. Keep that handy if you need that to contact my office. Also, you could subscribe to the email news blast that I send out. And with the YouTube channels and with the social media, hopefully I can keep you informed through that avenue as well. But thank you for watching, and you all have a blessed day.